Alright, this is a quick look at the generator shed that I have assembled here. This is a Suncast shed that I purchased off of Lowe's. And basically this is the larger of the two units that they offer at Lowe's. Over here, the modifications that I've done to it is added in the ventilation grid right here. I went ahead and screened that off to keep insects and bugs from getting in there. Then I had to add in the power cord hookup. This is set up for a 30 amp cord or a 40 amp cord. I'll be using two different types of generators here. I'll be using a small 3800 Champion that runs off of either gasoline or propane. And then for the 40 amp I have a Westinghouse, and that's an 8000 watt unit. And that runs off of propane or gasoline as well. It's got the double door setup and latch. Over here on the other side I have the exhaust vent for the generators. And I have the main grill vent for the exhaust of the overall compartment of the shed. This has already been tested, and I confirmed that it does work very well with just the front vent and the back exhaust vent here. There's a very good circulation flow going through there. As far as the exhaust is concerned, I had to add in a concrete backer board to the plastic housing, silicone sealed it. And then I'm going to later add a heat shield to keep any backflow from hitting that back plastic wall there. I don't want any chance of it melting from the heat of the exhaust. Interior shot here. There's the attic vent that I have hooked up with a thermostat. And then the exhaust port for the generator. I added the Polypro aluminum based insulating foam along the entire interior, including the doors. I may add it to the roof if necessary, but we'll try this method first. So there's plenty of generous room for either the small or the large generator, no problem there. And here's a quick look at the generator. This is going to be the primary horse that I'm going to be using to run at night, to run the refrigerator and the wall banger air conditioning unit. This is a dual fuel unit, just like the larger unit. This comes with a 3.5 gallon gas tank that uses regular fuel, regular unleaded fuel. But I'll be trying to use marine fuel in it, which has no ethanol at all in it. So that's what I'm going to shoot for. I already have the propane tanks set up. I've got a variety of those. I have 100-gallon tanks, I have 40-gallon tanks, or 40-pound tanks, 30-pound tanks, 20-pound tanks. So I'm good to go there. Only one modification I had to do to this unit. And this is the only modification that I did to this unit. I didn't want to go any further than this in case I ever decided to sell this unit and get something else. So basically what I have here is a hand screwed on type 1.5-inch drain pipe that feeds directly off the muffler through the heat shield, because this is the heat shield, and then you got the muffler behind that, and that's what this is tied into. And this coupling here is for a garbage disposal in your incinerator type situation, held on with 2 machine screws and lock nuts to hold it in place. And then I'll be wrapping in the metal coil that you saw out in the shed. I'll be hooking that into that as well. So those are the only 2 modifications I had to do for the exhaust. Alright, and this is the second generator that I have in case my power needs are more. I need more power than the RV setup that I have, and this will be the 7500 watt unit, maximum 9500 start watts. The nice thing about this is totally on remote control if you needed it. So what that means is you can start this unit inside the portable shed that I have outside during a storm, and it'll start by itself. It'll continuously try starting until it starts eventually on its own. I've seen videos where it starts on usually the second or the third time. It pre-chokes itself, pre-primes itself, and as long as the battery is good, which I bought a backup battery offline or online for that, so just in case. But as long as the battery's good, it will start. You won't even have to go outside to start it, which is nice. It still does have the emergency pull cord if you do run out of juice. This was a Home Depot purchase. I think this is around the $900 range. These here are the two power units leading into the house. That is an RV plug-in at the bottom, and then there's the 40 amp tie-in for the bigger generator. Both are hooked directly into the electrical service panel inside the garage. This is just your typical RV setup. And then this one here has the 40 amp makeup as well. So I've got my choice between the two that lead directly inside. Now, though, this is the interior of the wall, concrete block wall that I had drilled through, which I was showing you earlier on the two outlets on the outside. One's for the 30 amp down below for the RV, and then the 40 amp leading in. Both are fed directly into the service panel right there. It's a 200 amp service panel. And I have a dedicated switch for either the 30 amp or the double switch 40 amp breaker for the larger generator unit. Now, what makes this thing illegal in my area is because it doesn't have a direct transfer switch, and quite frankly I didn't want to pay the extra $400 to put in a transfer switch. If I ever sell the house, this will be sold as a unit that has a power feed for an RV unit, which some people do have RVs and they like to hook up to their house to power the thing, or the 40 amp. Either or could be used for that purpose. So that's what it'll be considered as. It's far less dangerous than trying to backfeed it through like the dryer plug, the suicide plug, because this is directed up. This has got the 10 gauge wire inside, which is recommended for the 30 amp, and then it's got the 8 gauge wire for the 40 amp. The 40 amp is on a dual pole system, and the 30 amp is on a single pole system, and that's how I got this thing to work. Now, how this whole works is your power goes off, you kill the main switch up top, shut all your breakers off, all of them. You get the generators started, and then you turn on the 30 or the 40, depending on the size of generator you have. And then I have the important items listed here that I'm going to need. The refrigerator I have on an independent circuit. I have the computer and internet service down there. That's all on its own dedicated circuit. And then I have the bedroom on its own dedicated circuit for the window banger air conditioner. So those are the only primary things that I'm worried about. Because in a situation where you're out of power in the neighborhood, I can get all the information I need off the internet versus cable TV. So that's the route I'm going to be going. To transport the 100-gallon tanks, I had to develop this cross brace for my truck, and I'll be strapping the 100-gallon tanks right where you see there. I'll be attaching those to that, so I'll be able to transport them on my truck easily. I have a hydraulic lift where I'll be putting those heavy tanks, which will be about 180 pounds when they're full, and those will be used to load and unload those things on and off my truck. And I'll especially need that as I get older and cannot manhandle those things around, so that'll be the last important step there. So my final thoughts on this Suncast shed are as follows. It's okay for what I'm going to use it for. I am going to have to strap this thing down during a major event. I don't know how it's going to hold up in anything over 100-mile-an-hour winds. We'll find out whenever, if ever that happens. The overall quality of this shed is not that impressive, considering it has a 10-year warranty on it. The floor is spongy, and as it gets hotter outside, it gets even more spongier. The side walls are not all that great. The front doors aren't all that great, and then by the time you put the weight of a fan in over here, like what I have, it kind of bows the wall in a little bit, so you have to play around with the door to get them closed. But other than that, time will tell. Now, to this credit of the shed, it did support my weight because I had to lay across this thing in order to bolt it in the back when I had it in place on the platform. And I'm about a 220-pound slob, so it was able to handle my weight laying across it to put those bolts in. So it at least held up to that. I'll give you that much credit. So do your homework. I just wanted to do it this way because I didn't want to build one out of wood, because I noticed the people who build them out of wood, it does not absorb the sound all that well. And it kind of acts as an echo chamber. At least this way the plastic will absorb it, and then the insulation panels I put inside will help reduce it. In addition to that, both generators are listed as they are now out in the open at maybe 30 feet away at a decibel of 62. So that's not too bad. You put it in here, it's probably going to drop it down to the low 50s. So that won't be too bad. So that's my final thoughts on this video. Take care.